Hey everyone, this is Twitch with Kinetic Entertainment Media, and I'm really excited to bring you today kind of an update on the status of the Nintendo 64 as it stands to the Raspberry Pi 4. So lots of questions, lots of talk. What can the Pi 4 do when it comes to Dreamcast, MAME, Nintendo 64, etc. And the answer is a lot. Um, so there's a couple of pages that have been really dedicated to kind of documenting everything around 64 and the issues with it and the progress from like the Pi 2 to the Pi 3 to the Pi 4 now. Um, and so there's two pages. There's the optimization N64 page, which I started a long time ago, needs lots of updating. And honestly, I think most people who are really, really interested in the N64 stuff are probably trying to migrate to Pi 4s. So we need to kind of switch the content to be more Pi 4 basic, but still keep the Pi 3 stuff because it's going to be important. So speaking of, a couple of people have done it and lost information. That's kind of the caveat of having like publicly editable Google Sheet documents. I know that there's a bunch of stuff that I put in and edited that is missing, um, but that's fine. That's just kind of how it goes. But I kind of really for the Pi 3, especially because my stuff got lost somehow. I really like there's a list by Dan Cruz, and it's just singularly maintained by him. So I think I'm gonna kind of take same track of that and singularly maintain a Pi 4 compatibility chart and just kind of like individually maintain it. And I'll link it in this video, and I'll also include it into the information pages for the info pages for the wiki on the N64 optimization page and the N64 just straight up page. So um, the this sheet that I kind of used as a template because I really like how he did it. Just as far as like game name, plugin status, etc. Um, really, what I did was I went through the list and did not test any games that were considered 100% stable on an overclocked Pi 3, right? Because a Pi 4 is already better performing than an overclocked Pi 3. There really isn't a lot of sense to test what's already been proven stable. Um, and I found some really cool results when just going through. So I tested everything that was in a broken or work with error status off of the list, and also a lot of even the stuff that was stable that had like audio issues or stuttering. So I mean, if there were issues in the comments, I went and I kind of things like glitches in the menu screen or the menu screens loading slow, and I tested and then kind of changed it or varied it and stuff. Now there's 43 I still haven't tested, unfortunately, and I will get to them. But it's just going to happen based off a schedule. I was excited to kind of get this video together. So statistically, the original list had 294 games. My list has 306 in the games that have been tested with a few that just haven't been yet. Um, in the original list, 85 were considered broken, 41 were considered working with errors, and 168 of them were stable, most having some form of minor issue like artifacting or slow menu screens or something like that. Within my list, now that I've gone through, and the difference being that list was tested on a Pi 3 that was overclocked, this is a overclocked Pi 4 that I'm testing on using just a manual build, Buster Lite with the RetroPie setup installed on it and set up. I have updated the firmware, and there is active cooling on my Pi 4. I've set a couple of things up in RetroArch and Mupen 64 Plus the way that I like them. Most of that information will be in that compatibility chart if you want to kind of follow along. So from my testing in comparison, there's only 9 broken games, 45 that I have not been able to check, that were working before with some issues, and I just need to go through. 235 that are stable. Remember, that's compared to 168 in the Raspberry 3 testing, and 76 have been moved from broken most into considered stable. So there's some really really impressive results with the Raspberry Pi 4. Um, there were 54 ROMs that changed that I just kind of notated and marked with a major change in the ability. And when you look at my format, the only kind of difference, you'll see some new categories from that older template. I added a category for frames per second because in my testing I've been notating the average frame per second with counters, but unfortunately there's only a counter in Mupin Plus 64 Next and Glide, so I'm unable to capture it for those that need like rice or um, rice or something else because I can't figure out how to get rice or Glez to give me a frame counter. If you know how, please let me know because I'd love to know. Um, Cool. And so what I want to give you some gameplay of in this video is kind of my list of some of the really cool games that have had major changes to them, not ones that we all know Mario Kart works, we all know Star Fox 64 works. So I just kind of want to go through and show some changes that have really made a difference and that are pretty cool for those who may have been waiting for these games to become playable. Enjoy. I apologize about the lack of audio on the stream, but I've been having some issues with my capture card. Uh, but I will jump in and kind of give you indication if the game's got some audio issues or whatnot. But other than that, everything's playing. Yeah, Dr. Mario was one of the games that was, I think, pretty broken up until now. And this is now in these testings we've gotten like two other cores. We've gotten Parallel and Mupen Plus 64 next. Parallel's got a lot of like it breaks a lot. Like it has like a lot of illegal instructions. Um, so I don't know how to play this game for crap, but um, yeah, Parallel's getting like a lot of legal instructions. And apologize for the overlays, but since I'm doing a lot of technical stuff right now. Like you can see that Dr. Mario is playing in 60 frames a second here. This is with Mupen 64 Plus dash Next. So I'm not using Glide. I'm not using Rice. I'm using Next in this one. So that kind of documentation is in that compatibility sheet when I'm doing something super different. Um, and that little overlay, I mean, some of it's important information that I want to see, but mostly it's just the frame rate. Some of the underrun information is pretty handy too. But Dr. Mario is playing very well. Now, this next game is super exciting because it has been a beast, not only on the 64, on the Dreamcast. It's a beast on a like LR MAME. Um, I've gotten it to run like in MAME, even though like load, it requires a CHD file. I've got into road and run and like get past the menu. It's still a struggle. But I'm actually gonna release like a whole other video on on MAME, like current MAME, not MAME 78, but current MAME, which honestly the Pi 4 has the power to run current MAME. I don't think people really need to mess with 78 ROM set anymore. We can kind of move on to the current MAME ROM set. But back to what's going on here. Yeah, Gauntlet Legends has been very difficult for a while, and you can see in the like initial loading screen, it's playing at like 42 frames a second. So like, and I have to excuse me if any of this information is wrong, but 30 frames per second is what I think the N64 games are like programmed for, but it kind of changes. Um, with emulation, things run faster because obviously you're on a more powerful processor than the original hardware. Um, but some games will run like you'll see like Conkers will run at close to 30 frames a second. I haven't seen it go over that. I don't know if it can, if it has the technical capability to. I guess we'll see with more and more hardware coming out. But it's just some games will get up to the 60 frames a second, and some will be at 30, and I kind of know why, but not enough that I want to put it out into the universe and then get like raked over the coals because of it. But yeah, Gauntlet Legends it's a very like it's just a hard game. Like a lot of enemies are being drawn to the screen at certain parts of it. It's just kind of always been a beast to emulate for whichever platform it's on. I mean, even 64 is like a very like tuned down version of the game. It's not as I mean, like the resolution's down, the texture quality is down from like the MAME version or even like Dreamcast. But in a second, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just kind of let the um, there is. I mean, like earlier you would have seen there's a problem or the character like a like in the bottom screen usually there's some kind of artifact. I don't know if it's artifacting because now it's showing a symbol, but it doesn't do that. I didn't play this on the 64. I played it on like arcade, and you would have seen like information about like your life and character, other stuff like that. Oh, any keys? Um, all right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let as many. Well, let me get into a clearing first. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna like let as many enemies spawn as I can, just to kind of show. Um, is that the max of enemies? Can it? No, it can produce more. I just kind of break out and give some room for more enemies to spawn. So good note to know is that even with all those enemies drawn to the screen, the game's still like manageable. Let's see. We'll just kind of keep letting it. Still in 60 frames a second. Character still responding. Not really. I'm seeing some jitteriness. I think not even really jitteriness. It's just animation. And I apologize about the black borders too. The source system I'm playing this on is a really specific setup that's forced to 720p. It's a PVM. It's an Ikigami. So that's just kind of what we've got going on. So I apologize about that. Okay. The next game is Killer Instinct Gold, which has also been a game that I think a lot of people really want to play and emulate, but has been very difficult to emulate. You know, even with overclocking, trying all the different plugins, changing options in the plugins. Like I'll notice in Glide when I play it, it's very, very, very buggy. Like in the first half of the match, and then it'll kind of smooth out. Often I can get it to happen earlier. Like if I change a couple of options in no, not that's in libretto. Um, yeah, in Glide it just sometimes it smooths out in the. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm. No, that's Glide. Okay, so the emulator you want to use for Killer Instinct Gold is Rice. I've changed it because I was working on something else. Glide's 2 Rice. I tried it with Mupin 64 next. Really, it wasn't good. Didn't didn't work nice. Seeing Rice, it's playing damn good. I wish I had an arcade stick. I hate playing this game on a control, but right now I just have a little 8-bit do wired controller. Yeah, but in Rice, and I think, and I'm remembering, looking back to like the notes of when this is tested like on an overclock Pi 3. I believe there was the notes or the notations was that there's a visual screen tearing, just a lot of visual screen tearing, which is it just gone. So the improvement on the hardware. So I mean, in the difference of this is the same software set, just with the increased hardware, there is a better difference on like the rain effect, and there's no tearing. I mean, there's this is extremely playable. I mean, there's artifacts or glitching in the menu load screen, of course. Um, but as far as like the actual game, everything is responsive. Um, you know, it's enjoyable to play. I mean, I know that I try to enjoy playing this on an overclock Pi 3, and I didn't. As much as I tried to, I couldn't. And in this version, I do really like how it responds. I just wish I had an arcade stick. So, well, I do. I just have it plugged in. Oh, I got fatality. Super sad. That's super embarrassing. I hate golf games. I absolutely hate golf games. But this is like a Mario game, and I know some people want to play it. So yeah, I hate golf. I mean, not only do I hate golf games, I hate golf. Ooh, next game is fun. Not that it's a good game. It's just interesting. I mean, anything with like an MK license is cool, right? This used to render upside down specifically. So I think this is a combination of like the increased hardware having an effect, as well as you know the software for Mupen 64 Plus and for the libretro cores that can run um, 64 games. It's updated all the time. So like some of these, some of the improvements are inherently software based, and some of them are just having much better hardware underneath them. Alrighty then, let's go kick some. Let's get the not Targaryens. These guys have a name. They have a specific name, right? Like a something T, I think. I think there's a button you press here to change the way you're facing. Is it this button? Okay, this button changes the way you're facing. It's a kick. There we go. It's a punch. Oh, there's a run button. Oh, and it killed me. I don't know. Game's playing. 60 frames a second. It's very nice. I mean, the controls are responsive. Everything's good. I don't know if it draws more enemies to this. I've never played this game before. I mean, I did in the testing or whatnot, but I don't know if it like at certain. Oh, these aren't the Baraka dudes. These are just monks. I think they're Shaolin. Oh, anyways, I'm not a game historian YouTuber. I'm a retro buy YouTuber. So yeah, but I don't know if it draws more enemies to screen than this, but I mean, I don't know. That testing looks good to me. I highly recommend if anyone wants to, you know, give me a list of games that like have problems once you've played, two or three levels. And I'll do it in a second. Like Yoshi, I'm gonna play two or three levels on Yoshi Story at the end of this because like Yoshi Story is one of those ones where the first level plays perfectly fine. Even like way back when on a standard Raspberry Pi 3 with no overclock, Yoshi Story played. Um, but by the time you got to the second stage, it didn't crash, but it had a black screen over it that was so bad that you couldn't play any further than the first page. And I remember Kind of broke this guy's. This guy was he was actually going off of this as I referenced this earlier guide of like Raspberry Pi 3 overclocked testing, which had said, oh, Yoshi's story works, and he was trying to get one together for his like girlfriend, I think, and then he did like some serious testing on it, and he was like, oh no, it's got all these problems past this point and stuff like that, which this kind of sucks. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have the ability to, five or six guys to split up 400 game or close to 400 games and play them all the way through. But I for sure as hell am not playing like Tom and Jerry Fists of Fury all the way through, or I'm not playing like, I'm not beating Rally Drive 2000 or something like that. So that's always subjective. But if you find a problem, you know document it somewhere, tell someone, and then we can tweak and figure out what's wrong. Like I hope like there's some here that if you just check the log, I'm a super cheap smoke player. I mean that's all I know how to do in Mortal Kombat is throw the spear and uppercut. Um, I'm more of a Street Fighter 2 player personally. But yeah, some of the game, I mean some of the broken games have like very specific like illegal instruction. Like there's an error log, and there's just a very specific like GL error or illegal instruction error that kind of happened across um, the few that I just could not get to boot, and I'm gonna keep those in the notes. And if a dev ever wants to look at those and be like, oh yeah, well we just need to do this to fix it, that'd be great. But unlikely. All right, I think NFL Blitz is up next. Check, check. There's only one team to pick. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a Texas boy. The Bills. Oh man, I hate the Bills. So we got some screen jitter. That's for sure. And I don't know how much. Yeah, Dion. Okay, sorry. I don't know how much. That's. I haven't. I remember that the game was broken. I got it to work. I was playing at full speed. I haven't really like. I haven't really. To my boy Irvin here. I haven't really tested a couple of different plugins on this, and I think oh yeah, the jitter's back. Oh my god. Oh my god, get him. This game is so over the top. Get him. Um. Okay, so I don't know. I'll play with the settings on this just a little bit more. Fun fact: my hometown is the birthplace of Tom Landry. Oh, okay, let's see. Next game up is Puzzle League. It's had some weird stuff going on specific to plugins. What ended up being the plugin that worked for it? This is one. Rice? Is that the one that worked for it? Thought it was next. Let me check my sheet. Yep. Rice. 2D mode. So this one has a specific menu, takes a little bit of time to load. I think we have time zone is going to come on here. So there's two options. There's a 2D option and a 3D option. Uh, the 3D is playable, but the 2D is a much better experience because the 3D's got artifacting for sure. Doesn't render kind of right. I also don't know how to play this game. Oh, I assume this is a Tetris E game. Oh no, it's not. What are we supposed to do here? We're supposed to get stuff together. Okay. 3 together. All right. 3 together. Okay. Okay, so you set up combos. 2. Switch these here. Okay. Well, how do you get, like... Oh, I see. That's how you kind of got to plot it out. All right, so we got to get, like... 3 together there. I have no idea how to play this game. Okay, I do like that. Oh, just move this stuff around here. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, I'm just... I have no idea how to beat this. But it plays. Obviously, there's some tearing at the top. But, I mean, the game's playable. You know. Good enough for government work. I think that's a term my uncle used to use. Pokemon Stadium 2 is up next. Ah, an exciting game. So what was the reported issues with Stadium 2 before? Let me just see. Pokemon Stadium 2. Oh, that it crashed or had severe graphical artifacts. That was kind of like what was reported before of on as far as Pokemon Stadium 2. No crash. What am I using? Oh, this is a Mupin 64 Plus next. Let's rent out. Ooh, I'm gonna take an Alakazam. Yeah. Let's take Articuno. And ooh, there's more down here. Moltres. Oh, my boy Scyther. Oh, Zappy. Zappy Zap Zapper. Who am I playing? Am I playing Bugcatcher? That kid, that model looks like Bugcatcher. Oh, this is some sort of config thing I'm screwing up. Okay, so button mappings are... Oh, so this is going to be one of those things because... Yes, okay, cool. I found where those buttons were on my controller. It's always weird trying to map like an N64 controller to a Super Nintendo controller. It is relatively difficult, but that's cool. Did Scyther just lick his blade? That was baller. Okay, so hard check. Let's do Swift. Pretty consistent frame rate through this. I mean, there's a little bit of slowdown on like the attacks, just a little bit, but not that much. Sorry if you hear my cats in the background. Dad life. Oh yeah, we're cooking with fire now. Yep, this is working full speed. I mean, I got no problems. I mean, obviously, if you are playing it in your own scenario, you won't have the over like the information overlays. But yeah, let's just kill this guy real quick because he deserves it. Oof, baited. So yep, Pokemon Stadium 2, playing great. All right, let's go to Quake 2. Sorry about that. Here's a good example of like explosions and what it means to like the playing experience of, obviously you're playing an emulator, so you're going to, kind of understand there's always going to be some sort of like differentiation from the real thing. But in a future video, I'm actually going to screen capture. I'm just waiting to get. I've ordered a Ultra HDMI, like an HDMI thing that you put in a 64, and I want to do some like side by side comparison of like 720p from a Nintendo 64, um, like outputting and capturing that input and kind of put it in a side by frame of like an overclocked Pi 4 and kind of do like a apple to apple comparison. See, that's what I'm talking about. So like the first thing that happens in like this map, or I mean this game, is the like there's a bunch of explosions, and so it's going to cause stuttering. Those are big, big, big explosions. After that, it's kind of manageable to play. But I mean, I don't know how many big explosions there are in this game. Uh, I've tested a few different emulators for Quake 2, and like I feel that Glide's probably the best right now. So there was a little bit of slowdown right there. Um, so I think this is what works with issues. Let's see here. How do I shoot? I mean, I wouldn't play competitively with this. Oh, I hate aiming with sticks. Give me a mouse. Yeah, some audio stuttering, etc. But far improved from what was previously playable. And if you're like a super huge fan of the game Quake 2, you could probably have some fun playing this game. And it'll get better. I mean, there's lots of stuff. I think like there's new. They haven't even really scratched the surface of like writing the right video drivers for the. I'm actually using the. I don't even want to talk about the Mesa drivers. Like it's really weird. I'm trying to follow. Like I have I think I have the Mesa drivers installed correctly on this, which are like the newest driver that was video driver that was released, but it's questionable as to whether it's actually compiled or working with the emulators, etc. Right? Like even if it is installed, um, that's a whole other hole to go down into. So I think we didn't need to test Revolt. We're gonna go to Ready to Rumble boxing. Ready to Rumble. What was that? Yeah, Ready to Rumble boxing. What was the complaint about this before? Oh, there's round two. Okay, so there's this in round two. That it had. Oh, the complaint was that it had a moderate amount of menu artifacts, which are pretty much gone. And the game plays 59 frames a second. Smooth. Not that I know how to play it, but get some. I'm sure there's a block button in this game. Oh, that's a. Oof. Okay. Can't take that beating anymore. All right. Next game is San Francisco Rush 2049. Now, across the board, even on the games, not testing and not showing direct video feed of, I mean, anything that was already, the stuff that I played, like Mario Kart plays great, Super Mario World plays great, Star Fox, not Star Fax. Show me the Star Fax. Everything that's already been good is playing. I don't know if arguably better, but super smooth. Turning in this game is like really like when you turn, you can feel the like in Mario Kart when you turn, it feels natural. This it feels like your back end or like your rear end is just kind of sticking in place. Oh dear lord, there's been a major crash. Is there backup in this game? Back end. Well, is there backup? Okay. What we've seen or what has been normal of a lot of racing games on 64 is like when it's drawing a lot of cars on the screen in the same place, like Cruising USA, and Cruising USA is still a problem. And I was super hoping that it would become it's one of my favorite games, but no, it is still having an issue that when you are near other cars, it's so slowed down and so unplayable. But as you get away, like if you were alone, like I am here right now because I screwed up and all the other cars have passed me, it plays relatively well. But that's not good because obviously you if you're playing the game right, you're going to be near other cars. So hopefully, uh, Cruising USA will work soon, either on the next hardware gen or after we get some more software and hardware, more software fixes to the emulators and better video drivers. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities. Like this is a 32-bit kernel, right? I mean, they just released, I think, a couple weeks ago, even a week or two ago, the 64-bit kernel, for Buster. We could see 64-bit emulators in the future. Uh, they haven't even begun to optimize. Like I think a few of the devs have gotten fours already, but it's taken a long time. I mean, the four was released a while ago, and everyone knows that the devs are working their butt off. But like, I think the rub was that the Raspberry Foundation didn't really like send out preview models or information, and the OS changed, all these other things, blah blah blah. It all accounted to like we're still waiting for an official like RetroPie image, and it will be here one day. It's not that hard to build manually though. I mean, like, I think you've been able to build manually since August. I mean, like I built my first manual one in August. I actually put it away because I kept having that like I was trying to use it on a 4K TV and I hadn't read about the 4K TV fix thing yet. So I actually like got super frustrated with input lag and walked away from it for like a month or two and just didn't want to mess with it again. But everything is a lot better now. Okay, that's enough of this game. South Park Rally. Let's play South Park Rally. Chef's Love Shack. I don't want to play Chef's Love Shack right now, but that one went from broken to working. What was the issue with South Park Rally before? I had moderate graphical artifacts. This is just a terrible game, I think. Is it good? I don't know. What is this, like a party game? I got a tag. I don't know. I don't necessarily like this art style, even though I like South Park. I don't know. I guess you can just like feel the difference in polish like between this game and like Mario Kart 64. You would have thought they would have just like licensed like Nintendo would have just licensed the engine for Mario Kart 64 and let other devs like just reskin it to their heart's content. Like I think Diddy Kong was on a totally different engine, right? It was good. Okay, there's a Christmas poo hanging out on me. Yeah, I mean even though it's playing 60 frames a second. Game's playing smooth. It's not slowing down on other there's no graphic glitches, but I just think it's a bad game. But there's plenty of those on the 64, so okay, what's up next? South Park Space Invaders, which has not played before, but plays fine now. What do we use? Glide. Okay. So here's the thing with Glide. Um, Glide is my default, right? That's kind of like the first thing I throw. Like that's what I put for default. I think it's a pretty rock solid plugin. For me, at least, I feel that it tends to perform better than the other ones. And what I really like about Glide is that I can configure a you know frames per second counter, so I kind of know where I'm at, and that is very helpful. Like when you're making overclocking changes, or you're doing some tweaks, or you're changing a setting, and you want to see like, did I realistically have any effect on what I just changed or tried, right? Like if I increase my clock speed by 200 megahertz, did that make this huge difference or did it not? So I in most of these if you go through that list, you can see like a lot. I mean, even from I changed the suggested um, emulator to this wouldn't boot before, like even like on an Overclock 3. It crashed. So like um even playing it for like a respectable 40 frames a second. So even when I gotta go get this shield. In like it speeds up as there's less enemies on the screen though, so that's a good indication that it's kind of struggling with screen drawing. Um, so like even on an overclock Pi 3, what was I trying to say? I was trying to say something. Sorry, I got confused by the game. Oh, Glide. We were talking about Glide. Uh, some of those I think Dan is his name. Like he kind of put Glez or Rice or some stuff like that. If I could get it to work with Glide, I kind of changed it to Glide in my settings because I tend to like glide or whatnot. So if you see glide on my sheet, it probably means that I didn't try another emulator on it. So if you want to try to see if you can get a little bit better or something else, but if I was able to like just boot up the game and get 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second and like no artifacts, no screw ups in the menu, I didn't test the 5 other emulator options. I just kind of, you know, had at it. But if you want to get spicy with it, feel free. Okay, we're gonna check Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Now there's some other overclocks, and as long as we're discussing Raspberry Pi 4 and 64 performance. So interestingly enough, on a previous video, and you can see on a previous video, I tested like I did like a video like early Raspberry Pi 4 capabilities, something I had the focus and attention for. I had put an overclock, and I had upped GPU frequency. I went to 2147, like I did. I was pushing a pretty aggressive overclock, and I was starting to test some things. Um, and I was on like whatever firmware update was out at the time. Whatever's going on with this newest firmware update won't let you touch your GPU frequency. I've already gone to the newest firmware update, and myself and quite a few other people are experiencing. Like I hang out in the SBC Gaming Discord. Um, if you want to ask me a question, you can always hop into the SBC Gaming Discord channel. That's like the one associate like Reddit/r/SBC Gaming, and they have a Discord channel chat. So like I want what is it R2 or L2 to freaking swing? Um, so yeah, like so I'm not the only one that is experiencing like a problem with GPU frequency with the new firmware update. So like Raspberry Pis have firmware like every other digital device, and you can update that firmware, but apparently it kind of has messed up the ability to. I don't know if it's intentional, whether they locked it down for a reason, because there's not a lot of information that I can find on it. All I know is that me and a few others, kind of with the same identical setup, are not able to raise our GPU frequencies. If you are, let me know, and let me know uh, what version of firmware you're on. There is this command sudo rpi-eprom update, and it won't actually update your firmware. It will just tell you what version you're on. Yeah, but I almost wish I hadn't touched my firmware from like when I originally had it, because I had a pretty cool overclock and I was happy with it. So I might actually buy another RPI4, just hoping that it's yeah, Spider-Man plays great. Just hoping that it's on the previous firmware update. But you did need to like you needed to do like in August you had to do an RPI update in order to be able to get like higher clock speeds than 1900. And then even on the stock firmware that was on Raspberry Pi 4 shipped, before August, or you're like, yeah, I think it was before August. Even before that, like if you didn't RPI update to it, that the current firmware that was in that area, you couldn't overclock past like 1700. If you did, it throttled you. There was heat issues, etc. And the newest firmware update has definitely had a big impact on heat. I don't have anything really even crazy. Oh, this is very exciting. Rogue Squadron, which hasn't even really launched before, but plays very well on an overclocked Pi 4. Um, Continuing on my firmware renting, but yeah, I don't have any crazy cooling. I have like a little dual blower fan that has the heat sinks on the bottom, and it's plugged in. But I don't have any. I'm running like a 1900 arm frequency right now, and I don't have any problems with heat or heat management or shutting down. I mean, This is very exciting. Rogue Squadron has been a very difficult ROM to get to emulate on a Pi. Sorry for the long load time. I probably should have done a save state on this, but I was just so excited the first time I was able to get this to run that I forgot to do a save state. This is a good time to plug, I guess, the SBC Gaming Discord channel and the SBC Gaming Reddit subreddit /r/SBC Gaming. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And I mean, if you're really into like, I do a lot of kind of newer stuff for the Pi 4. I've been messing with LR MAME and I'd already done a couple of videos, but things have gotten further along now. Like software's a little bit more stable, so I'm going to try to do like a whole other video on what MAME is like, on the updates for MAME, kind of in the same realm. And then I think that I'd also like to do a video on like my CRT setup, because I've got, I mean, the display I'm playing this on is a really cool. It's an Ikegami HTM 1917R. It's actually a 720p from the. It's not like a Pi Discart. I'm doing a really cool like HDMI to SDI signal on this PEM. So but in order to do a cool video on that, I need to get CRTs are hard to record. You need to get like super fancy cameras with super specific settings. So sorry for that long cutscene, guys, but be able to show you the game now. I was very happy to see this game launch when I tried. Feel like this is a good time to mention that Wedge Antilles was the best pilot in all of Star Wars. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. And if you're gonna say some crap like Luke or Anakin was the best pilot because of Force, or yeah, like I don't know, I don't believe it. Like Wedge had 2 Death Stars, Luke had 1, Anakin had 0. In fact, technically, Anakin is at a -1 on Death Star kills because he didn't get Luke. Uh, a whole Death Star blew up. So, but that's just my opinion. Where's that? Kill this. Oh, the angle's really rough on it. I'm just gonna. Okay. This is user error, not necessarily emulation error. But game plays and at high 40 frames per second, so I think that's pretty impressive. Let's see here. I'll just go kill this shit. Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, so let's go to another game that's been really tough, which is Let's go to Shadows of the Empire. Like, I mean, it's been playable. I feel for a while. Like, so okay, this is one of my favorite games ever. Is this Star Wars Shadows of the Empire? So, um, it's been playable even back to like the Pi 3, like even before the 3B, without really an overclock. But it's had severe chopping or issues in like the menus, um, which has always kind of been like early on when you would launch this ROM, it would jitter and shake so much you kind of had to like from memory know what to do so you could get the game to launch. Um, and it got better and better. Like I think I had some like old videos that I did, but like this scene would just be you wouldn't be able to see anything. You kind of just had to. This would have so much jitter that it was really an unpleasant experience. And you could get in and like you could get your snow speeder flying around and like you could play the stages, but it was not an enjoyable experience. But now, I mean, like on a Pi 4, this plays like butter. So, like most 30 somethings, the 64 that I had as a kid, um, like one of the only games. Okay, so the games that I ever had for the 64 when I was a kid. Now I have I don't have the whole collection, but I got stacks of the games, right? And emulators and stuff like that, right? So like, but when I was a kid, I had Cruisin' USA, I had Shadows of the Empire. What else did I have? Man, I feel like those two games are the games that we had because I played Cruising USA with my cousin. It wasn't even mine N64, right? It was broke as hell. It was my cousin's N64 who lived next door. So we had Cruising USA. We had Shadows of the Empire. Maybe like one or two games. But I mean, yep, that was it. And we had a Video Plus. It was like an old video rental place, and we get a couple of games and stuff like that. But like, I didn't know what Smash growing up and stuff like that. But this game I did, and I played the hell out of this game. Honestly, the controls of like flying vehicles is so much better than Rogue Squadron and Shadows of the Empire. One of the reasons is because there's a brake button. So even though this game has been playable before, I think it bears, yeah, like if you fly through an explosion, you're gonna get a little stuttering and stuff like that. So don't fly through explosions. But I'm gonna head on this guy right here. Ugh. F your couch. Okay, so there's a little, but I think it plays super 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 good. Let me down an at just to kind of show because that can also there's a scene obviously you can shoot a tow cable in an at but like it can be in the past like on a 3 like right like on a first gen 3 you would circle that at and it would just it would lag, it would slow down so bad. So it's a lot better on this now. Well, what, you want some of this? Nope, not yet. Gotta clear the field. Oh, I'm about to die. Let's see here. Nope, gotta come in. And you'll see like you would see some like as there was damage on the ship, it was rendering flames, right? So you were seeing a little bit of a slowdown, or I was seeing a little bit of a slowdown when it was rendering those flames. So that's interesting to know. But like now that the ship respawned and it's not messing with those flames. Oh, what's still firing at me? Nothing. It's time to get this guy. So it is in this part. Oh, crashed. Rarely crashes. Maybe that was a rare crash. I'll be real honest. I might be pushing the heat on this bad boy, but it's cool. Let's see. Battle for Naboo. Battle for Naboo Bleeds and Misses. So that's rare. I mean, crashes are rare in that game. I played it like the third portion of Shadows of the Empire, but I don't know. We'll just ignore that. Game plays really well. But sometimes crashes are just to be expected. That's why they made a save button. Battle for Naboo. What was the complaint on Battle for Naboo? Battle for Naboo before was crashing or freezing on all three emulators. Little audio stuttering in the menu. Little lag in the menu. But remember, this game wouldn't launch on an overclocked Pi 3. Oh, please tell me it's not a long intro. So I will put timestamps in the video description, which you'll probably have already realized by this time. But I will try to put timestamps for when the gameplay begins for each of the game. And we're killing stuff. Excellent. Roger, Roger. I don't know if I little slowdown right there, but it's okay. Getting through it. And wide on the like FPS. So we're like, I mean, we're going at like one point we're like 27 frames a second, and then we're at 50, 9 frames a second. You'll see a little bit of that slowdown when see a little slowdown when you blow something up and there's like a big fireball on it. But oh, I'm gonna get you. Oh yeah, now we got it to really stutter down. This is playable, you know. I mean, it's depending on what your kind of concept of playable is, but it's far from perfect. But it is not crashing on startup anymore, so that is also good. I think we will see this game get better. Okay, it's a really like terrible. See, like on the snow speeder, you could change your whatever axis that was, right? Like your x-axis, and you could kind of come in and like get a good aim. It's like land speeder thing is terrible. It responds well enough though. Yeah, let's move out. A little slowdown as I'm close to the other model. Yeah, but big improvement on that game. Okay, cool. What else do we have left? Oh, episode racer plays nearly perfect. The only thing is some of the plugins don't render the body, but you just switch to camera mode and you're fine. Star Fox 64 plays great. Oh, this game only because I kind of hate this game. It didn't play before. It was broken. Uh, it's the worst game I've ever played. I think. And I mean, I played a lot of games. This is the worst game I think I've ever played, and I'm only playing it as some form of like personal torture. What plugin was the best for this? I think it's Rice. Tom and Jerry. I have Glide notated for it, but Yeah, this didn't really play right before, which honestly was kind of a blessing because this game is bad. I mean, it looks nice. Honestly, I like how they rendered like the models in the ground and stuff like that. It's just like the AI is ridiculous. That rat is on crack. I mean, he's not attacking me like the game. You're supposed to like kind of like a little Smash Brothers or something like that. Like there's icons that you use to like hit each other. You have health bars. It's a four like I don't know what you call this like a 3D space or whatnot. Like I mean not like 3D Virtual Fighter 3D, but like look at the AI. He's just hopping around. He hasn't even come near me. It's the worst AI I think I've ever like experienced. And then like you get near to him and he gets even worse. It's like he just runs away from you. This is a bad game. Plays full speed. I mean, super responsive. I think. I mean, like other than the game, like I a lot of time what I was trying to do, like, well, you know, what says this is playable or not playable, is like trying to look at a video of it running on YouTube and it's identical, but like no, this game's terrible. But I'm like, okay, here we go. Now we have some combat. I'm about to lose too. Like all this AI is doing is just jumping in the air and spinning around and then hitting me when I manage to chase him down and get there. So this is very frustrating. Oh, there we go. Finally got a nice hit on him. I don't know. And maybe it's just the lack of characters because this is like essentially a fighting game that has two characters in it. Like, where's the bulldog? I don't even like I don't know. I won't play this game long enough to like unlock characters or something. Like, if that's the gig that like you have to play this game to unlock like the pit bull or the like the girl mouse or someone else in the damn franchise, that's stupid. That's like ridiculous. Come here, mouse. It's terrible. This game's horrible. But it plays full speed and did before, so that's cool. Oh yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. So like all the Tony Hawks, 1, 2, and 3, vast improvement on a Pi 4. Pro Skater 3 is my favorite, so that's one I'm gonna kind of show off. And he's a little slow. I feel like yeah, you could you could definitely have a faster menu. Okay, so man, I really need to play this and unlock the rest of the levels. Yeah. Ugh, there's only one skater to pick in this game. My boy Rowley. Here we are. The Dark Slide Master. I had Rowley's shoes in like high school. So yeah, so this game is a lot better. Now I was really trying to watch like a video of like this on 64. I always played this game with cheats when I was a kid. Um, but like yeah, like I played a video. So like the dark kind of background. See how like the back like that's normal. Like that's supposed to happen because it doesn't actually start to run those backgrounds until you until like you get up on them specifically. So like you're here and you can see these backgrounds. It's just like I think that's draw distance. There's probably some development term that's right for it, right? See, but as like you get closer to them, they do correctly rend. So I don't think that's like necessarily like a graphical problem. Oh god. But playing at a solid 30 frames per second, on there, which we call it. That's pretty consistent across all the Tony Hawk games, which have been a little hard to emulate. You know, pretty crappy up until now. And I think that they're finally getting to kind of just a really good state where I could enjoy like actually unlocking, you know, stages on this versus where, before even on a 3, I didn't enjoy playing it enough to even like want to really unlock a stage. So, uh, man, I used to be so much better. I want to believe I was so much better at this game, but I think I just turned on the cheats and just like went to town. Yeah, that's almost entirely what happened. Isn't there a special gauge on this? I think the special gauge is not is artifacting or rendering wrong, but yeah, because I think there's a special gauge, and so you're supposed to like work up a special, and then you could use it. Like Geos is the dark slide, obviously. Okay, cool. But game works, and I mean, as I tested, most of the Tony Hawk, I mean, all of them work relatively well. But don't take my word for it. Overclock Compatibility 4 and do it yourself. Let's see here. Now we're ready for Yoshi Story. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna do what? There's one more game I'm gonna do that like a whatchamacallit. I'm gonna also show you like another cool thing too. But we're going to play Yoshi Story. So for Yoshi Story specifically, the best emulator for it is LR Mupen 64 Plus Next. And that's not necessarily because it looks visually the best or anything, because I think it looks really good in Glide. The thing is that it doesn't bug out on the later levels. I've only played to like the 3rd level, so I'm just gonna show you here. Someone has the patience to like play this game through the end. Please let me know if that it doesn't continue to have issues. A little tearing there, right? Okay, cool. It's livable. I mean, responsive as heck. I don't get this game, honestly. Okay, so I hate that. It's really hard to throw that corner on like a modern analog controller. Okay, let's go. Come here. That corner's hard to throw. I need to remap something to get the damn throw egg button, but just I'm just playing the level to show this stage thing. What does it mean when it turn like so? I hit the ground, it turned him from red to blue. That was interesting. Is there a reason you want to do that? Okay, so this is before. This would be you would play that stage fine, and then you would and people would like knock it off on the compatibility list and be like, oh yeah, Yoshi 64, like it's fine, or Yoshi Story, it's fine. But like you'd get to this stage and it would start like black screening, like bad. I don't know why I'm. Is this a dog? Is it a cow? Okay, let's see here. Let's go, dog. Show me where to go. Okay. Okay. So What does he do? He like, oh yeah, he. I guess he rings when you're close to a heart. Excellent. Or not rings. Oh, so that's a bad guy. Well, why do they put that shy guy? Oh, that's the shy guy, right? Yeah. Why do they put him over there? I have no idea. Why even render it? Sometimes games devs don't make sense to me. Like, why put? Can you jump over there? Is this like some part of the game that I just haven't figured out yet? Oh my goodness, I haven't played this game at all. Coolio. Oh. So yes, so stage 2 plays perfectly well without doing that thing. Now there's definitely some screen tearing right there. I went away, but not perfect. But nothing in life really is perfect. Definitely playable. But I would love to hear from, because this one was kind of tricky. I would love to hear from somebody who is, adept at playing this game and can beat it. To let me know if you can play through like with these settings, if you can play through like the whole game without experiencing a major problem. I hate this stupid pachyderm. I'm too late. Okay. Yep. Cool. That's all I'm going to play that game. All right. So the last game we're going to talk about Smash. Right. We're going to talk about some Smash Bros. Another game I suck at, but like. So, here's the deal with Smash. Plays good. It even plays good with a high resolution texture pack, which I haven't launched. I have other videos on high resolution texture packs. You can check it out, where I actually go through all the 64's games that have texture packs available, and kind of give you like a performance thing on them. They all work really well. Um, the uh, the Zelda ones look really really nice. I had old like N64 optimization had old like kind of outdated information on it, but so let's see. Anyway, so cool. So this has got a tech. You'll notice, and like one of the problems with Smash Brothers is that it doesn't load faces really well. Like that's one of its emulation problems. So I found that a really good fix to that is by installing the texture pack. And with the texture pack, everything's looking really good because everyone's faces render right. Uh, and I think the texture pack looks really good. Oh, I'll have to bring in. So let's do 3 players, right? 4 players a bit laggy. Um, I mean, it's not a 64, right? But I think it's playing relatively well. I'm not saying anybody would like compete on this, but it's definitely like not as bad as it was. I mean, on a 3, this early on was pretty bad. On a 2, this is nearly unplayable. Even the single player. I mean, I feel like the single player is really good. Like the Yoshi stage, obviously, when it's like drawing like a ton of Yoshis on the stage. Okay, one day I'm gonna learn to play Smash. I promise you. But uh, like the Yoshi stage would renders like a bunch of Yoshis, and so it's like problematic or whatnot. So all right, let's render. Okay, let's go and let's render like 4 guys to the screen. Right, cool. So that's a good indication. Like if you and 4 of your friends get together and you have 4 controllers and you play some Smash, right? Um, it's not it's not that bad. It's definitely like you can enjoy it for a party game or whatnot. But I mean, I'm not saying that you would. It's tournament ready. Yeah, let's do versus start. Put in 3 computers. Who do I want to play? Play Yoshi, I guess. But the game is fun to play. It's doing okay with even with like multiple characters on screen. Like a 1v1, this game is like it's good. Everything's good. Like I've turned the resolution up. Like everything's cool. Um, 4 players, it's not bad. Like I mean, actually, I don't really see like too much of a difference between like 3 and 4. Pretty much the same kind of speed. 1v1 is really good though. Okay. All right. So you've kind of seen that. And the other game I'm going to show you is Smash Remix. Do I have it on here? Should be here. Just gotta remember the file name. I think it was under Piece. All right. Hold on 1 second. I promise it'll be worth the wait. It might crash. This might crash the Pi, but it'll be okay. Just give me 1 moment. I gotta upload something over here. I thought I had already uploaded this. I apologize. This is in the... I lost a whole ROM that I had, which is called Smash Remix, which plays on the Raspberry Pi, and that was going to be my big reveal, and I messed this all up. So, I guess I will do a follow-up video on just that Smash Remix. So let's not, let's not, what should we call it? Sorry to keep you around waiting. Yeah, that's Raspberry 4 performance as it's going. I'm a little tired, so we'll wrap this video up. Um, I'm pretty happy and impressed with it. As I said, check the comments for that compatibility list. And as I said, if someone knows how to get the other plugins to show FPS counters, that would also be pretty helpful for kind of coming this up. And I've got a bunch of other games to update in the list, but they're mostly like terrible sports games and stuff like that. So I'm not too much in a rush. But hope you liked the video, and if you have any questions, comments, you can find me in the single board computer Discord gaming chat, which you can find on the subreddit /r/SPC gaming. And check out my YouTube channel. Thanks.